Hi there, and welcome back. And in this lesson, we're going to be talking about passion and happiness. So, first of all, a question for you. Have you ever been in love? I mean, that real love that you experience when you first meet the love of your life. Do you recall that feeling in your stomach like butterflies each time you even think of that person? The intense sexual energy, the warm, comforting energy. Do you remember how all-consuming that feeling is? Well, let's find out how that passion links to happiness. Now, when you're in love, something happens to time, doesn't it? I remember when I fell in love with my wife, we'd stay on the phone with each other for sometimes 2 hours at a time, chatting and messing around. And it was as if no time had passed at all. Have you ever done that? She was all I could think of. Nothing could hold my attention more, and I wanted to spend all of my time with her. Now, if you've ever been in love, you know how this undeniable passion can influence the rest of your life and fill it with joy, happiness and bliss. Everything about the person that you've fallen for and everything about your life looks wonderful through the rose-coloured glasses of being deeply in love. I remember saying to my girlfriend, as she was then, that I would sacrifice having anything and would be happy just living in a cardboard box just so long as I had her with me. And I meant it. Do you know that feeling? Have you ever noticed how negative stuff seems to hold no energy at all when you're in that deep state of love? Now, here's the thing. You can be passionate about art, sport, politics, business, science. In fact, anything that you care deeply about can bring up a feeling of passion not dissimilar to that feeling of being in love. However, passions don't just land in your laps, okay? They tend to have to be kind of coaxed into being. It seems to be that a person has to first choose an activity that they have some kind of interest in, and then actively pursue being competent at that activity to begin to cultivate a passion for it. And in fact, it's usually on the way to becoming competent or even a master at that activity that at some point that person realizes that they're truly happy. Now, another thing about passion is that the activity that you're engaged in needs to be an end in itself. And what I mean by that is that for passion to exist, we tend to need to gain happiness and reward through the process of doing, regardless of the outcome. Playing music is a really good example of this. If you play an instrument, you're going to know exactly what I mean. You can get a real boost of happiness from simply picking up your guitar for a couple of minutes and playing something. Now, when you do this, the likelihood is that there is no real goal as such. The chances are that you're just playing and playing for the sake of playing with no real agenda. And it's the process of playing that boosts your passion and creates your feeling of happiness. Because you see, if you're doing whatever it is you're doing for attention, for money, or for some other external reward, then you most likely will feel little passion about it during the process. That is really, really important, okay? And if you need to rewind a bit and listen to that again, please do, because it's a key point to being happy. So you need to be practicing, say, archery, for instance, for no other reason than you love to shoot an arrow. If you're dancing, you need to be dancing for the sheer joy of dancing in order to feel passionate about dancing. And at the same time, though, you need to strive to get better and better at whatever it is you're doing. There needs to be an element of challenge, you know. It seems that effort is an innate component of finding happiness through passion. Now, here's an idea worth thinking about. How about finding ways to live your entire life passionately? Can you imagine that? Well, it is possible if you're clear about what your life's purpose is. If you live according to your values and you remember the things that make you happy. And I do mean remember, because I'm talking about going back to a time when you were maybe a child and remember the things that used to make you laugh, the things that you used to do just for the sheer sake of it, just for the sheer hell of it. That stuff, that's the stuff that you used to get told to stop doing by adults when they told you to grow up. So in order to cultivate these feelings of passion, what you need to do is to make it a point to challenge yourself and continually learn and grow. Expand your skills with every opportunity that you get and form or join a community of people whose values are aligned with your own. And together you can support each other in fulfilling all of your dreams. There's a reason, for example, that we have our Facebook community after all. So find ways to be passionate about life itself and for no other reason than you're experiencing it, and you'll have found a way to balance out at least some of the negativity that the world throws at us from time to time. Find a few hours each week where you can be engaged in an activity that you enjoy simply for the sake of doing it, and you'll find that your days and your weeks are much, much more enjoyable. Now, if you make a habit of doing this, you'll never, ever need to be concerned with being bored or fed up ever again. And the reason for this is that passion sparks enthusiasm, and it's truly infectious. Your passion will rub off on everybody that you meet, and everything will generally be a lot happier. Okay, so let's continue on now to the next lecture, and I will see you there.